Howdy y'all, got the Bulldog on the channel. It's starting to be a lost art because everything's sealed, but repacking wheel bearings is important on a lot of stuff. So, just give you a real quick few tips on repacking. My dad had this old bearing repacker years ago. He never even took it out of the package. It's sat in the closet for 20 years. When I started working down here, I got a little bit tired of rubbing them into my palm, because the way you do that is you take your palm is curved a little bit. You take that stuff and you push it in. You get a glob of grease on your palm and push it in there. You want to get as much grease in the bearings as you can. But this packer does do a really good job, especially when you pair it with an air-powered or battery-powered grease gun. Put your wheel bearing grease tube in that, and that is strictly for packing wheel bearings. We need to get another one for the rest of the chassis stuff, but you go through a lot of grease when you're packing wheel bearings. This one's got 2 axles. That means 8 bearings. 2 of them are pretty large, so you use that gun, your hand's going to get tired. This gun ran out of grease last night. My boss said that he put the last half tube in here, and after I finally got all the air out of it, I got the rest of them packed. I only had 2 left. Now, I'll show you here. Here's the finished product. I always put the front races in first, then flip it over and put the back race in, then the back bearing, then the seal, so that I'll have to stand it up and roll it over there, and I stick it on the spindle and throw the outer bearing in there. Now this stuff we use is super tacky. It works really good, so naturally they don't carry it anymore. It's really hard to find. Used to be Kendall Super Blue. Now it's Chevron Dello. I don't know where. We'll probably have to end up getting a bunch of that stuff online, because our lubricant supplier, they don't want to do small time. They want to do semi-loads of stuff or nothing. So we used to use quite a bit of wheel bearing grease because it's something you always did. We would go through a case a year or more, and now we haven't bought any in a decade. So, a couple tricks. That packer fills the center up, and then it pushes it through the bearing. When I pull it out of there, I leave all the grease there. I don't poke it out of the center. I take a little bit of it and wrap it around the outside of the bearing just to get a little bit on it. But the inside of the bearing is completely full. But I want to leave as much grease in there as possible. Always, always check and make sure that your spring that holds the rubber down tight did not pop out when you're assembling it. It is a very common problem. 3 out of these 4 did it. And I had to take my hook and pick tools and walk it back into place. But what I'm going to do on these right now is I'm going to fill that cavity with the grease that I have left. You don't just grease the bearings. Your bearings will last longer. It will dissipate more heat if you have very little airspace in there. The more grease you have in there, the better it will absorb the heat off of the bearings, and they'll last longer. You'll repack them instead of replacing them like we're doing here. One of these was full of gear grease, like liquid. So I guess A trucker saw that little rubber plug and thought, hey, we're gonna top it off like I do my Great Dane trailer. No. So these take the solid gear grease. You pack them. But these are all pretty much ready to go back on. Like I say, I'm going to use the rest of my grease to fill up that cavity in there. You know, that stuff gets pretty, this stuff doesn't. This stuff holds up pretty good for high temp. But any lubricant gets thinner when it gets hotter. And I've been standing here with you looking at the light, sorry. But any lubricant gets thinner when it gets hotter. So you don't want it running out of the bearings. And if there's already stuff there, it can't run out. That's the logic that I use. So we're gonna pack these things full. I'm gonna go back out there in the heat and put it all together. I don't know about the electric yet. We're trying to make a game plan, but hopefully we'll have that thing. It's gonna at least be on its wheels tonight, so it won't take me long to put this all back together. Especially as hot as it is out there, I want to get it done and get it back inside. So, like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it around. We'll talk to you later.